You know, school districts are constantly on the lookout for new and advanced teaching techniques and programs that not only benefit the school, but the lives of students as well. And that's what has happened at one Berwick elementary school, where students there are learning more than just their ABCs and 1, 2, 3s.
Take your seats. Open your 7-habit book to page 15.
You are watching students at Berwick's 14th Street Elementary School perform skits that they themselves wrote and directed to coincide with a new pilot education and life skills program being tested out at the school. Entitled The Leader in Me, the program is designed to help students at a young age learn how to bring the leader in themselves out so they can become community leaders later in life. As we said, the Leader in Me program, designed by the Franklin Covey Company and based on Dr. Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, is being tried out at the 14th Street Elementary School in Berwick, and so far, at least according to the teachers and kids we talked with, is quite successful in a number of ways, including some unexpected ones.
It's a character development program, and it's based upon the work of Dr. Stephen Covey, who wrote the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So he wrote the book, The Leader in Me, and his son, Sean Covey, wrote a book called The 7 Habits of Happy Kids. And we use both of those books in tandem to work with the program. So what it does is we train teachers first. They go through 4 days of really intense training, and it's a real bonding experience for teachers. And they learn the language of the 7 habits of highly effective people. Then what we do is we translate those habits to students using the 7 Habits of Happy Kids books. We use the activity books, we use the Covey website. There's a strong parent involvement piece. We send letters home to parents and let them know as the students learn each habit along the way. We have Leadership Day assemblies where I kick off each of the habits, myself and the teachers, and we have leadership teams of kids, 4th or 5th graders. They're really excited to do it. They do skits, they perform one of the habits and teach it to the little kids. Then they do some peer mentoring where the 5th graders will pair up with 2nd grade, 4th grade with 1st grade, and 3rd grade with kindergarten, and they do activities and all kinds of follow-up things with the 7 habits. And it's not a thing where the teachers teach a lesson, Doug, and like, oh, today I'm going to teach the lesson, think win-win. There's a very ubiquitous approach to it, and everything is embedded in the curriculum. So if I'm a teacher and I'm reading a story to students and a perfect opportunity presents itself to teach think win-win or to teach put first things first, which are good life skills to have, we'll just seize the moment. And we'll take that, well, oh, look at the character in the book. They were thinking win-win, and that's why the story has a happy ending. So you're always looking for the teachable moments. You embed the language into the curriculum, and pretty soon, before you know it, you have kids that are coming up to you and saying, oh, I was on the playground today and so wasn't very proactive, so I told them they needed to be more proactive.
Before we get too far along, we should clue you in as to what the 7 habits of leading being taught at the school are.
The program, what it does is it teaches students the skills that you would need to, not to survive, but to excel in a 21st century world. Things that business leaders, community leaders, leaders in education would be looking for, not only in employees, but in students. There are, habit number 1, for example, is be proactive. You need to have a plan all the time. Don't be a victim. Don't let things just happen to you. Habit number 2 is begin with the end in mind. Number 3 is put first things first. And that simply means you work first and you play later. It's a good plan to have as adults. We as adults don't always do those things. Number 4 is think win-win. It means everybody can win. There can be a solution where everyone gets something. There doesn't always have to be a loser. Someone can always win in the situation. Number 5 is a tricky one for kids. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. And that's all about being a good listener and just making sure that you really understand what someone is trying to say to you before you respond. Something I could get better at all the time. Habit 6 is synergize, and that means together is better. So that's directly work-related skill, that learning to work in teams. And number 7 is the fun one, that's sharpen the saw, and that means that balance is best. You have to remember to keep a balance in your life, fun, work, your spiritual self, your physical self, all parts of the body and the mind need to be in harmony. So the really great thing about the program is they're not just school skills, they're life skills, they're work skills, they're community skills. So we think that we're going to be building better citizens in our students and in ourselves as we embrace the 7 habits ourselves.
So the thinking behind the program appears to be that teaching these skills to our kids now at an early age just may prove to be the solution to a lot of problems later in life. Based on the results so far at 14th Street, the program is already working better than expected.
You know what? I thought it would be tough looking at all the material and all the words that we would be covering with first graders, and they took to it right away. It was amazing to me to hear them just start saying things like be proactive, and they knew what it meant. And as we've progressed through each of the habits so far, it's really neat to hear them thinking of examples in everyday life, what's going on here at school, and they use something that we learned from the 7 habits, so it's been wonderful.
The Leader in Me has brought great change to our school and to my classroom as well. I have students in my room who I would not expect at this point of the year of a 2nd grader to actually be able to produce the quality of work that they're doing. They're spending more time on their work and less time wanting to go do those playthings, because they know that the more time they spend in their work, the greater chance they are that they don't have to redo it again. And they're really learning that their decisions is what makes it makes their life. It makes their friendships. It's making their work greater in the sense that it is of greater quality. They are also, it's improving their friendships. It makes them be the student that they want to be. And they're really learning that the student that they want to be is inside of them. And so the Leader in Me is helping bring that out.
We had some doubters in the beginning, especially in kindergarten and 1st grade, that wondered if kids at that age level could really make these connections. They can. They use the language, they know to be proactive, they know what think win-win is, and they come up and they tell me, they stop me in the halls. And parents are now, I'm starting to get a call once in a while, or I'll see someone outside at dismissal time, and they'll say, you know, my son came home last night and he said, Mom, this isn't a very win-win situation. And the more I hear from kids and parents, the more I think it's successful. And they say it's a 3-year implementation period until everything is full-blown. You get the parent piece, the community piece. Those are all strong components of the program. We're seeing success in the 1st year. We're seeing our behavior and discipline problems go down. We never had really extreme issues to begin with, but they're even less, and they're less severe. I see kids being nicer to each other. And the expectation is that when students pass all the way through the program, if they start in kindergarten and they pass through here when they leave in 5th grade, Franklin Covey claims that it will improve not only the character of the child, but PSSA scores, just everything. Everything should improve. Grades should improve. Behavior issues will improve. And that's the hope. We're saying, wow, if we're seeing changes like this after only 6 months, we're halfway through the year, not even 6 months, what's it going to be like 3 years from now after these kids have run through the whole implementation process? It can only get better.
Berwick School Superintendent Wayne Brookhart says the Leader in Me program was an easy sell to the district based on a couple of factors, including the obvious benefits.
Well, we first got involved in this through conversations with representatives of the Covey Foundation. And there's so much credibility and name recognition immediately when you hear about a Covey program that we felt it was something that we at least had to look at. And through some research and meetings with staff, we determined that it was something that would really help the kids moving forward. We also thought it was something that in place of many of the other things we often do, this was an all-encompassing philosophy as opposed to a specific program that you tried to implement in a school. And we felt that instead of doing 5 things, we'd be able to do 1 and implement it and get that philosophy within the district embedded and started at this school as a pilot. Some of it has to do with, again, the recognition of the Covey Foundation and the type of things that have come out of Stephen Covey's work and the familiarity with it in business, industry, and almost all professions. I think that's a part of it. Another part of it was that this was the right building. that we had a staff that we spoke with early in the process, and they seemed to be very much in favor of moving forward. We thought it was a very good building that would become great with this. Their achievement levels are already very solid, and I think I also saw some benefits that I was able to verbalize to people in the building and in the district that maybe don't even come out of the Covey presentation, and that we want our students to become leaders, and in becoming leaders there's some decision making that I think will follow along with that. When students go from the elementary to the middle school, there are a lot of really important decisions they have to make in their lives. And personally, maybe not coming out of the Covey Foundation and a lot of our other discussions, but personally I think that's the most important benefit that our students will get from this, is that when they go from 5th to 6th grade, they're going to be strong, they're going to be leaders, and when they're confronted with the possibility to make the wrong decisions, they're going to be prepared to make the right decision.
The Leader in Me program is also being lauded by business entities, such as the Columbia-Montour Chamber of Commerce.
The skills that these children will be learning through the Leader in Me are skills that will help them not only as students, but in the future as employees in their careers. The type of skills they learn are exactly the type of skills that employers need in their workforce. And I could go through a whole list, but I'll just give you a few. Leadership, mediation, negotiation, self-direction, taking initiative, responsibility, adaptability, setting goals, time management. There's just so many things that they learn from this program, and these are things that they will need to be successful throughout their education and in their subsequent careers.
Part of any chamber's function is to promote local business, and by doing so, it also promotes the benefits of living and working in an area. Therefore, a program such as Leader in Me is a perfect opportunity to promote Columbia and Montour counties through the success of its people.
I think that if we develop a stronger workforce, it will help our local economy and eventually, hopefully, create more jobs, better jobs down the road, and it'll just be a cycle of bringing people back to the area, enhancing our schools. People will have a reason to move here and stay here. Our Chamber Foundation has reached out to our Chamber members and to the business community in general, looking for sponsors for this program so that we can help the schools implement the program more quickly. And as I said, we would like to see it spread to all 7 districts in our area. Our primary sponsor is PPL Corporation. Our other sponsors include First Columbia Bank, First Keystone National Bank, Berwick Health and Wellness Fund, United Way of Columbia County, and Deluxe Building Systems.
Now that we know the good a program like this will do for our kids and the community, how are the various aspects of it being implemented?
We are implementing them by once a month. We kick off a habit. We just finished habit 4 with a Leadership Day assembly. And then we have students, leadership teams of 4th and 5th graders will come down and perform a skit for the school that they write themselves, direct themselves, they stage themselves, and they explain the habit to the other kids. And it's all student created. I just coach a little bit, so it's all their show. Then after that, we go back to the classrooms and we follow up with activities, either from the website, the resource there, with activity books that we've purchased from Franklin Covey. The habits are they're embedded in our everyday language. We send letters home to the parents, letting them know what habit the students have learned, and with suggestions for things that they could do at home as a family. We also have a link on our website where they can get into the student schoolyard and explore the 7 habits. Covey has released that to us. Then we do some peer mentoring where we pair different students, different grade levels. 5th grade will go with 2nd grade, 4th grade with 1st grade, and 3rd grade with kindergarten. And students they'll read books that supplement the habit, that particular habit that they're working on, read books to support it. They'll work on all sorts of projects. Maybe it'll be something art related that'll pull it together. We just started a community-minded project in 5th grade working with some high school students where they came over and they worked with our kids on recycling and pet adoption. And now they're doing a month-long follow-up, and that's the community piece of it where they're collecting donations for local animal shelters. So that's the outreach, the community part. And as you progress through the years, it's really a 3-year implementation process. that part gets bigger. The parental involvement piece gets bigger, and the community-minded piece gets bigger. We start to ask more people from the community into our building and start to go out a little bit more.
We have this wonderful storybook that goes along with each habit, and they're familiar with the characters, and so I think that's how we really get them prepared as far as mentally prepared for each habit. We go through those stories and then talk about maybe everyday situations, things that can happen. We've done some role play. They love acting, so that's worked out well.
One first grade student we talked with, Graham, seems to be getting quite a bit out of the program. What does the term proactive mean? What does that mean?
Like you do your own thing. Do your own thing. Just don't be bored in anything. Just do what you want to do.
So you like the program so far?
Mhm.
Do you go home and use it at home too?
Yep.
How? How do you use it at home?
If my dad needs help with something, I can help him.
It's all in the implementation, and it's being implemented well. We're seeing what we had hoped to see. Now, it's early in the program, but we're seeing a reduction in the discipline referrals in the building, which is one of the benefits that we had hoped for. But I think more so than anything, and this is not always easy to verbalize, it's the intangibles, not the tangibles. It's the feeling, it's the culture, it's everybody working together toward one goal. It's really a neat thing in any school. It's not always easy to do that. I think that this building did lend itself to that because it has a very strong faculty. It is small, and the implementation has followed along with the quality of the group in terms of it's been a very good program, and it's been a very good experience at this point. But it's early, and I think it's going to get better.
I said, Doug, I love the word ubiquitous. It's everywhere. It's all day. It's not a 20-minute lesson and gone. You teach it in the assembly, and then it just gets constantly reinforced through conversation. Kid to kid, teacher to kid. It's everywhere.
I think that it really does contribute to building entrepreneurs. It makes these kids independent, responsible. They take initiative. They don't need constant interference from adults. They know how to manage themselves, their time, to set their own goals. That's exactly what employers need. They need employees that are self-starters, that can see what needs to be done without being told what to do. And I really think that this is something this program provides. It makes them independent thinkers, and it teaches them that if they have a plan, if they set goals, if they follow through, that they really can achieve anything that they set their minds to.
We're seeing success just with discipline referrals being down, through conversations I have with students voluntarily. I don't elicit from them. They just come up to me, approach me in the hall and say, hey, guess what? I was proactive today. Or we were thinking win-win at recess, and we all got to play the same game, and it was great. So that's wonderful. That's a gift.
Superintendent Brookhart says the hope is to implement the Leader in Me program in the other 3 elementary schools in the district over the next few years, with those who've already taken part in the program helping to implement it elsewhere. In the meantime, for information on the Leader in Me program, log on to their website or call their 800 number, or you can call the Columbia Montour Chambers Foundation program, as they've got information for you as well. That will just about do it for this episode of Metrocasting. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again after Labor.
There's a number 2 pencil writing verses on my sheets, saying you can be anything if you